Okay, what we're going to be doing today is going over the STEM test. This way, you can have all your questions answered. You have your test that you turned in, so you can follow along with me with your test. If you don't have your test right now, please go ahead and pause it. Pause the video, grab your test, and follow along with me. This is specifically to answer any questions that you have, because I know teaching online, when we're not in a classroom for you to get regular feedback, it's going to be hard to have your questions answered over your test, what you got right or wrong. What I did was, on the test, it was all multiple choice, and I just gave you 5 points for every question. Now, with the question, if you didn't show the work, I marked it wrong, regardless if you got it right or wrong, because I didn't. How do I not know that you just didn't call one of your friends and have them tell you what the answer was? So I needed to see the work, and on the questions it'll be very obvious which ones require the work and which ones don't. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to go over these tests, but not detail from start to finish. I'm going to explain the whole concept of the question, but I'm not going to do all the intricate calculations, because that's going to take way too much time for each question. And you have a calculator, so you can do it if you missed it. All right, so number one, what are the zeros of the equation? So if I set every x equal to 0, if I set 3x equal to 0, I have an eighth root at x plus 5 equals 0. I have a fourth root of x plus 2 equals 0. And I have a single root of x minus 1 equals 0. I don't need these parentheses. So I'm going to have, if I solve, divide both sides by 3, you're going to get 0 for a root. You're going to get negative 5, negative 2, and positive 1. Because you just set them equal to 0 and solve. Okay, number 2. If you know one of the factors of the function was and you're using synthetic division, so what I'm going to do for number 2 is I am going to write this out. I have 1x to the third, positive 5x squared, positive 5x squared minus 9x minus 45. And I know that one of the factors is x plus 5. That means the root is negative 5. And then the first thing I would do, move down this 1. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 minus 5 is 0. And now we continue this. Negative 5 times 0 is 0. Negative 9 plus 0 is negative 9. And so on and so on and so on. What would be my first step? Oh, it's all it's asking for is our first step. Divide 5 into the function using synthetic division. Nope, it's not 5. It's negative 5. The remainder after use synthetic division for part D is... nope. A, C, and D are tripping. B is the answer, because you divide the root into it. Now for number 3, I'm not going to multiply it out or divide it out, but I'm going to show you how it's set up. You're dividing negative 4, because that's one of the factors. You're dividing it into 1x to the third. Now this is the thing. Plus, there is no x squared. That might have been where some people went wrong on that. Minus 14x to the first. Plus, and this is going to be your remainder, 8. And then remember the first step, bring down 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Add these and continue that pattern. That's for number 3. Okay. Number 4. Write the equation in the form of, okay, so I know first off that with y equals x squared, so all of these so far, besides number 1, have needed work to be shown. If you didn't show the work for 2, 3, and now 4, you're not going to you wouldn't have gotten credit even if you got it right. You should understand, I won't give you, I can't with online. I can't give you credit unless you show work for the questions that require work. So you have x squared plus 8x minus 17. Okay, I know that my shape is a positive 1. That means it's going to be curved upwards, which eliminates letter choice B, because letter choice B is a negative orientation. It's going to be curved downward because your A equals -1 on B. Anyways, the main thing I need to do is find my vertex. Remember, my vertex is x equals negative b over 2a to find your x coordinate. So I have negative b over 2 times my a, which equals negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. That's my x coordinate. When I plug, if I plug negative 4 back into here, y equals negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 minus 17. Whatever this number is, I'm not going to do the math. This is what your y is. And then if you're writing it in vertex form, it's y equals x minus your x coordinate plus or minus whatever your y is. So that eliminates C also. So your answer could be either A or B, and your answer is actually D because it's squared, where letter choice A is not a quadratic. Okay. How many zeros will the equation blah, 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 x for number 5? How many zeros will it have? It's only going to have 2. One of the roots is going to be a triple root at negative 4. It's going to be a fifth root at 1. There's only 2 roots that it goes through. That was super simple. Now, what are all the solutions? This is a quadratic equation. I'm just going to set up the quadratic equation, but I'm not going to solve it. So you have x equals negative b plus and minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 3, all divided by 2 times your a. There it is. So, well, negative 4 times 1 times negative 3 is positive 12. Negative 6 plus and minus the square root of 48 all over 2. All right, now notice square root of 48 is not a solution, because what they did is they simplified square root of 48. They reduced it. Square root of 16 times the square root of 3. Square root of 16 is 4. Remember, just when you're simplifying roots, 4 with the square root of 3. So 4 square root of 3 is the same thing as square root of 48. And then these aren't any of the answers because they divided this, this, and this by 2. So they're going to take half of negative 6, which is negative 3, plus and minus. 4 divided by 2 is 2 root 3. All 2 divided by 2 is 1. So negative 3 plus and minus 2 root 3 is your answer for number 6. Okay. For number 7, it should have been easy because it's a negative orientation. So that means A and B are canceled. Your vertex is positive 1, positive 3, which gives you letter choice C. Okay, now if you write the equation, you should know for number 8, if you're writing this equation, that you have a, it looks like a root of negative 1, so it would be x plus 1 factored. It has a root of positive 1, so x minus 1 factored, and has a root of 1, 2, 3, so x minus 3. And you have y equals. So based off of that, you can eliminate a couple answers. Now, how do I find my a? This is what you do. I'm not going to do the math, but this is what you do. Plug a 0, because it tells you a point that it goes through. It tells you the y-intercept. And it tells you it passes through 0, 6. So this is your x, this is your y. Do the math to solve for a. Okay, now for number 9. I'm going to write that in vertex form. y equals a times, if it has a vertex of x at -9, x minus -9 squared, which is going to be plus, minus 9. Okay, and now it tells, so this is my setup for my vertex form. However, I need to solve for my a. You totally need to show work on number 8 and number 9 in order to receive credit on the test. If you didn't show work for number 8 and number 9, even if you got it right, please, I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I can't give you credit unless you show work, because I know you didn't just randomly do it in your head. So you had to show work, and if there's no work, I'm assuming you just guessed or got the answer from somebody. So that's why I need to see work. And if you're like, oh man, that sucks, sorry, there's nothing I can do. It's online. I'm not in classroom to watch you do it, so I don't know what you're doing. You show your work, and then you don't have anything to worry about, which is what I told you guys multiple times. All right, now you have to solve for your a. I'm going to plug in -7 because it goes through -7, -1. There's your equation to solve for your a. Okay. Now for number 10, it says it has a y-intercept at +1. So that eliminates, B and D. And then see how your shape is -3? That means wherever your vertex is, you're going to go down 1, 2, 3 over 1 on both sides. And that's going to be very obvious what the graph is going to be. All right, number 11 is the exact same thing as the first couple questions with synthetic division. However, in this one, you're going to have a factor. So the way that you would set it up for number 11 is just like the other one that we did where you had to put a plus 0x squared because there is no x squared. Same thing. So for number 11, the root is 3, and my coefficient 2x to the third, plus I don't have 0. I have 0x squared minus 5x. And then here's your remainder of plus 4. Bring down your first term. And 3 times 2 is 6. Add, continue that pattern. Which cubic function passes through the points 1, 2, 6, and -1 and -42? Okay, you could do this 2 different ways. I think the easiest way would be process of elimination. Plug a 1 in, plug a 1, 0, plug a 2, 0, 6, 0, and -1, -42, 0, and only one of those will be the exact equation. What you don't want to do is, you don't want to do this. I saw some people start doing this. Y equals x minus 1, x minus 2, x minus 6, but I have to solve for my a. So here's my equation, and plug a -1 into here, plug a -42 into here to get my value, my a, and then multiply all this out to figure out which one it is, a, b, c, or d. Way too much work. I would plug those 4 coordinates in real quick. You have a calculator. You can do it really quick on your calculator. See which one of those, A, B, C, or D. When you plug a 1 in, it gives you a value of 0 for your y. When you plug a 2 in for your x, it gives you a value of 0. When you plug a 6 in for your x, it gives you a value of 0. When you plug a -1 in for your x, it gives you a value of -42. What I would have probably started with is -1, -42. Plug a -1 in, I'm assuming only one of those will give you a value of -42 for your answer. You needed to show work for that. Okay, what are all the rational zeros of x to the third minus 7x minus 6? The answer is graph it. You have a graphing calculator, graph it and see where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, number 14 is a factoring of a perfect cube. Remember, it was a pattern. There's no work to show for number 14. You take the cube root of the first term of the cube root of 125 is 5. The cube root of x to the third is x. And then you square this. Take the cube root of the last term, which is 8y. Square it and put it at the end. This is a negative, this is a positive. Multiply these two, 40xy. There it is. I don't know what ends. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Sorry. It's not 8 to the third is not 64. 4. Sorry. And this is 4 squared is 16, and 5 times 4 is 20. Sorry for the confusion. Sometimes teachers' brains go crazy. Okay, number 15. Use the function. That A in number 15 you don't need. It needs to find the vertex. Where is the vertex? Okay, well the x-intercepts are -3 and 2x plus 18. Subtract 18 divided by 2. So 2x plus 18 equals 0. Subtract 18 divided by 2. So my roots are -3, -9. So that either leaves you C or D. A and B don't have those roots. And then your vertex is halfway in between. So look, if you were looking at a graph, and you need to show work for this. -3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Your vertex is going to be halfway in between, which is going to be -3, 1, 2, 3, which is going to be, see, we don't know what our A is. So it's either going to go up or it's going to go down. But I know my axis of symmetry is going to be at -6 because it's halfway in between. So there's only one answer, B, where your X number is -6. Plug that -6 back into your equation if you wanted to figure out your Y. But you don't need to, because there's only one answer for your vertex. Okay, graph this. For number 16, it's a negative orientation, because see how my A is -2? That means that B and D are wrong, because those are positive. Those are curved up. My roots is going to be x minus 2 times x minus 2. My root is going to be 2, 0 with a negative orientation. So there is my only root, which is going to give me A. Okay, a third degree for number 17 has a third degree polynomial has a real root, so it's going to be f of x or y, same thing. I mean, it's not, but for right now, just think of it as the same. Has a real root of at 4, so it's going to be x minus 4. There's only one answer, it looks like, that has x minus 4 in it. But we'll continue, because it looks like C is going to be my only answer. A double root of x at 5, so x minus 5, double that piece. And a triple root at -3, x plus 3, triple that piece, which is going to be letter choice C. That easy. There's no work to show on that question. Now, number 18. What happened from -x squared to negative, and then they put a 1 inside the parenthesis? X plus 1 squared compared to -x squared. So, well, just think of your vertex. Wherever your vertex slides, or this is going to be open downward, wherever your vertex slides, the whole stinking quadratic slides that way, wherever it is. So all we got to figure out is how much our vertex shifted. Now, if we have a vertex at -x squared, it's at 0, 0. If we have a vertex here, remember this is opposite -1, 0. So this vertex at 0, 0 shifted, boom, 1 unit to the left. Number 19, we did the same exact question a couple questions ago, where your vertex form, and you have to find your A. You have to plug a coordinate back in to solve for your A. Y equals your A times x minus your x number for your vertex was -2 squared, which is going to be plus 2. Your y coordinate was positive 5. So we can already tell, I should already be able to tell that my answer is B. All the other ones, A, C, and D, don't give this equation, x plus 2 squared plus 5. Anyways, if you didn't know that it was B, if there were 2 possible choices that were B, what you would do is you'd plug in 0 for your x and a 3 for your y to solve your A. All right, and then the last one, graph negative 1/4 x squared. Negative, so your vertex is in the origin. Negative 1/4. It's either going to be B or C because it's a negative orientation. Now, negative 1/4 means you go down a fourth and then over 1. Initially, and that's it. Down a fourth and then over 1. So it's going to be a lot wider. Remember I told you guys, when your shape is a fraction in between negative and positive 1, as long as it doesn't equal 0, it's a wider curve, which is going to give you letter choice C. All right, and that's it. So when you log on today, I'm going to be answering any individual questions, but I'm also going to ask you when you log on, if you have questions that are exactly what I talked about in the video, I'm going to say, watch the video again because I'm going to assume you didn't watch it. And if you have individual specific questions that I did not cover on the video, then I'll answer those. But please check your test with how every question was set up before you ask me questions. That was the whole purpose of this video. Thanks.